Praise God. You know, the wise man Solomon tells us in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 that we should trust in the Lord with all our heart and lean not on our own understanding. But in all our ways, we must acknowledge Him and He will direct our path. You know, I had and still have a passion for ministry, for serving people, and for just doing the work of the Lord. And I believe it is that passion that led me to embrace the call of God on my life and a call to full-time ministry. It was a call that I answered that also required that I needed to do further studies to properly equip myself to serve the people of God. And I say to you that when I answered that call, I only had a 1 semester school fee. I never had much, and all I had was 1 semester school fee. Didn't know where the rest of the money was going to come from to pay for the next 3.5 years. Don't know who was going to help or anything like that, but I trusted God. And one of the things that I recall even as I moved out was the fact that 2 particular individuals spoke to me prior to starting college, and they pretty much shared the same thing. They shared how God provided for them through college. One of them went to the college that I went to, and another to another. But they shared of how God provided for them and how God would have opened up various opportunities for them. And I said to myself, God, if you could do it for them, you can do it. You can still do it today, because you are the same. Because your word says that you are the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. And I went a step further and I said, God, not only are you able to do it today, but you are able to do it for me. And in fact, I want you to do it for me. I want a similar testimony like what they had. Because one of the things that I've come to understand is that when you experience God for yourself in certain areas, you are better able to tell persons, and you are better able to trust God and be more confident in Him. And even when I tell you today that God is a provider, I'm not just saying that God is a provider, but I am telling you from my own personal experiences that God is a provider, and He will provide for those who belong to Him. He will provide for those who trust Him. He will provide for those who are a part of His family. And God did provide for me during my 4 years in college, and I trust in God that even after, He's still going to be providing for me. But I tell you this, that even while I trusted God to provide for me, there were instances where I sought to do things on my own. There were instances where I sought to kind of work some things out because I wanted to help God, or in my mind at the time, I just wanted to know. I wanted to have a logical explanation of how this was going to happen at this time frame and all of that. I wanted to work things out for myself. And I recall trying to do that, and God messed that up. I recall putting things in place, and God just shut it down. God just stopped it. And I tell you this, that I became upset with God. I became upset with God, and I became upset with those people too, who never wanted to fall in place with my plans. You know, I really became upset. And I at the time I could not see it, but it was, I think it was earlier this year as well, that I was reflecting and I said, God, wow, you stopped me so that you could have your plan worked out in my life. You know? And I say something as before I move on, that there was also another period in my life where things got bad financially. Things got really rough and tough. I'm talking about I'm in the middle of my schooling. You know, and things got really tough, and got to the point where I thought that I was going to be sent over to the point where the school started to threaten me, and the school started to call, the school started to the business manager started to see me and ask me questions and all of that, and I became really embarrassed. I became really, and it kept on going to a point where I got up one morning and I cried to the Lord. mentally I cried. I really cried to the Lord, and I just laid things out before God, and it's like, God, enough is enough. Things have to stop. Things has to change. Things has to turn around. I need to see you working and moving on my behalf. I need to see you taking care of me like your word says that you are going to take care of me. And I really had to challenge God again. I really had to, really had to do it again. And I kid you not, that had to happen. That had to happen for me to stop saying that I trusted God and for me to start trusting God. All of those things had to happen so that God could pull out that aspect of me that not only say that I trusted Him,